Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our program tonight. We apologize for the delay. Obviously, in the age of technology and Zoom, we have issues, which is fine. We are all here, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Miguel Perez. I am the head of public programming for the Phillips Collection, and we are so thankful to have both Joel and Bill joining us in conversation here tonight. They are just going to have an open conversation about whatever questions they have for one another. So I hope you guys can sit back and enjoy this. If you have any questions for either Bill or Joel as they talk, we will be more than happy to answer those questions. Just throw them into the chat or into the Q&A. And I will come back on screen in about 30 or 40 minutes and ask you guys those questions that people have for you. But this is for the two of you to talk. So please enjoy and enjoy these two wonderful gentlemen.
All right. Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you.
Bill, how's it going?
Okay. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Good to be here. I'm happy, that you agreed to do this. I know Zoom might be like it could be a headache easily, technology itself. But I appreciate you, Bill. I really do. I appreciate
Okay,
you
well, thank you.
doing this. But yeah, first off, I want to thank Miguel though, like for putting all this together. He's been very helpful and open, setting everything up and putting the pieces together. So Miguel, I know you're watching. Thank you, and the rest of the Phillips collection for selecting me to redesign the logo. Thank you. But yeah, most of all, you though, Bill. I want to thank you again.
Okay.
All right, cool.
So you got your logo?
Oh yeah. So let's just like jump right in. I wrote down a couple notes, but I know people, they were wondering like, why I chose like you to, have this conversation with. And, for me, you are like one of the coolest people at the Phillips, in my opinion. You got one of the coolest jobs to me. You get to like work with like all these pieces and you get to hang them, and you've been doing it for so long. And to me, that's just like really amazing. And it's inspiring.
Well, thank you.
It's really inspiring. So no, I just want to talk a little bit about like what you do. For those who might not be familiar with like what you do, I know you're like the senior art handler, chief of installations at the Phillips, and you've been doing it for quite some time, which again I just find like amazing. Since I've been working at the Phillips, I've been seeing you just running back and forth through the galleries with paintings, without paintings, with frames, just like focused, just on like your task. So, if you want, you could talk a little bit about that, and like how long you've been doing it.
Oh, well, I started working here the 50th anniversary of this place. So that was back in 1971.
Wow. Wow. Man. Wait, so 71. I was born in 1990. So you had,
Yeah.
I'm bad at math, but you had like 30 years before I was born. You put in 30 years at the Phillips before I was born. That's amazing.
Guess I'm a lifer.
Perfect. What
On my screen, I've got below me, there are four pink squares. One of them has a Mondrian in it with two hands holding it.
Oh, I
And
see
one,
that.
it's an image of crayons, and then music, and then a meet somebody new.
That's
Ah,
my picture. Don't people? Not everybody can see that. People can only see the two of you.
Oh, okay. I was just
okay.
curious what I
Yeah,
should do
the
with that.
Mondrian. Yeah, yeah, okay. That's cool. I like that. You can click off that if you want. Like go to switch to active speaker. It's
No,
like on
it's
the
okay.
left side.
I enjoyed Miguel's voice. It was like the voice of God.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't know he was there. All right. But uh again, I chose you because of, you know, I feel like my design, it kind of relates to what you do. You know, for me in the design, I like had like a bunch of different paintings, um, kind of wrapped in the 100th uh, anniversary logo cloth. Like there were like maybe like 20 different paintings, and you know, the way I see it is you've physically touched every single one of those paintings. And I just want to like,
Oh, there you go.
right, there it is. Yeah, yeah. I believe it's 20. I'm not sure. But you know, that's just pretty much a collection of the paintings that inspired me through the years at the Phillips.
Uh-huh.
Um, for those, you know, tuning in, and for those who don't know, I worked at the Phillips for 5 years, over 5 years actually. I was a museum assistant, and you know, one of my duties was to, you know, to pretty much stand all day and pretty much just make sure like all the artworks were okay and accounted for. It was a great opportunity because, you know, I got to like really get up close and personal with the paintings and, you know, talk to like some of the visitors and stuff like that, and I got to build like a relationship with, you know, some of the paintings on the walls. Um, so, you know, that pretty much sums up why I selected these pieces. You know, these are the pieces that really inspired me, like in the most way. But Bill, what do you think about it? Like some of these pieces, like do you recognize some of these pieces?
Yeah, I can see most of them. Uh, I was just trying to figure out, there are a couple I'm not sure I can recognize, but yeah, the majority of them I see.
Okay. Well, that to be fair, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. There's one that's actually not in the collection.
It's is it the one with the three people?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
there are four
You got a good
people.
eye. You got a good eye, Bill.
Anyway, that's the one that I don't recognize as something I've seen here.
Okay.
But
I'm a
the Dove, the Red Sun by Dove. I'm reading a book now, letters between Stieglitz and Dove. Um, so it's a correspondence, and so of course they mention Phillips because of course he sort of helped support Dove. But in reading this book, I found out that at least from, I can't remember now whether it was Dove or whether it was Stieglitz that had heard it from Phillips, that the Red Sun, which you've got in your photo here, it's just a little bit above the 100, was evidently, according to I can't remember whether it was Dove or Stieglitz, um, was one that Phillips really favored. But of course, he bought quite a few. I think we have
mm,
over 45 of those critters,
oh
uh,
yeah.
and they're all interesting.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. And I know that the Phillips, they use that like a lot in like the promotions and stuff. But I mean I can see why, you know.
Yeah.
like that sun is definitely red.
Yeah.
But there's the one that you recognized, well, that you didn't recognize with the three figures. That's actually my painting. Going back to working at the Phillips.
Was that in one? Was that in the staff show here?
It was, yeah.
And I guess they're all soldiers, aren't they?
You said soldiers?
Uh-huh.
There's one soldier.
Okay.
The guy in the blue, he's a Civil War vet.
Right.
But they're individual.
Right.
One is a cotton picker, and then the one on the far right, he is just a modern day, what I would like to call him is a domesticated black man.
Right.
Pretty much. But half the piece is cut off though. It's
right.
We every year the Phillips would do the staff show. For our audience listening, we do a staff show for the staff, and staff would bring in their work and exhibit, their pieces in the lower level of the Phillips Collection, and the visitors would be able to go down and see the show and stuff like that, and we'd have a reception set up where artists could talk about their work, and to me that was just like a great opportunity to just show my work and to see, my coworkers' work, some of the most creative people I've ever met. Just to, talk to them and just see their creative process was just like really inspiring. And, for me, one year I did this piece, I call it Evolution. And, you can't really see it, but there's two more figures. There's an African man, then there's an enslaved man, and then there's the cotton picker, then the soldier in blue, and then the modern day man. And I showed this piece. I don't know why, but I was just like really like scared about it, just to like really show like my thought process, and like what I've learned through history and what I've learned through painting. For me, this is like one of the first times I ever like really painted, in an honest way that represented like me and myself. So I don't know why, but I was like terrified to show it, but I ended up showing it, and just the reviews was like crazy. Like so many people like received it and appreciated it, and it sold, like within like a couple weeks. And it's a funny story because the person who bought it, they had to like hunt me down pretty much to buy it from me. He showed up. The person who bought it showed up to the gallery on a Monday. The museum is closed on a Monday, but we got some employees working on Mondays as well. But he showed up at the front door with like an envelope full of money, and he took it out and like handed it to me like at the entrance of the gallery. It was like, I want to buy your painting. I saw the staff show and I want to buy your painting. I'm just like, who is this guy? But I know to some people, walking by on the street, that might have seemed a little bit fishy, but I appreciated it. And to me, it just really it really let me know that like what I'm doing, is meaningful, and that I shouldn't take it for granted, and I should be confident and like brave in like what I do, the art that I share.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Right.
just keep doing it.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. So that's that piece. I feel like that was an important one. I definitely felt like I should add that in because, of the success that it brought me, and it was almost like a moment of clarity type piece. After that, a couple other people asked me to replicate it, you know, in different places in the U.S. So there's 3 versions of that painting in the world right now, 3 different versions in collections.
Huh.
But
Well, that's
right. Thank you, Bill. But any other ones you recognize?
oh, the ones, well, the Phillips, sure. I can see the Vuillard, the Chagall, the Miro, and of course the Alma Thomas. And I'm not sure if I can make out what's behind the Alma Thomas, but then behind that on their edges, there are 2 Rothkos on the left and there's 1 Rothko on the right.
Okay.
And there's a Kokoschka up front near the 1 on 100, right there below the Miro, there's a Kokoschka. And of course a Diebenkorn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should use the pointer.
Oh no, I have to make it bigger.
But yeah, it's a whole bag full of goodies.
I like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, of course, the big Bonnard, the terrace is up at the top.
Oh man, that's one of my favorites in like the whole collection.
And the funny thing is the one above the Whitfield Lavelle.
Uh-huh.
I guess it's the O'Keefe Red Sun.
Yep.
But looking at my forehead on the screen, it looks like my forehead. So I'm in there.
Oh man, you just roast yourself, Bill.
Yeah.
All right, that's perfect. Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah. Well, well, it looks like I'm there now forever, huh? Yeah, I hope I haven't spoiled the painting for you.
Oh, but that is hilarious. Like, okay. All right. But yeah, these are my favorites. It's just kind of crazy to think about. Like, for me, when I started working at the Phillips, it was you know, prior to that, I was working a job where I wasn't like really happy.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually considering going into art therapy, majoring in getting my master's in art therapy, because you know, prior to the Phillips, I was working at the Art and Drama Therapy Institute, and you know, it's not existing anymore, but the Stable Arts Center, they occupied that old building. If you ever heard of it, the Stable Arts, up in Northeast, I believe, like near New York Avenue, Noma, in that area. But
I'm not familiar with that.
okay. Yeah, they do like events and stuff, and they host a lot of artist studio spaces. I think a couple of people from the Phillips, they actually got like studio spaces with Stable Arts. They're pretty.
I was over there somewhere. I might have been there, but I can't remember now what show I saw there, whose artwork I went to see. I'm just spacing it out, and I'm not sure how many years ago that was.
Okay. It's a good. I've never been personally. I mean, I've been to the, you know, of course, the Art and Drama prior to the Stable, but like the Stable, when they did the remodeling and stuff like that, you know, I haven't been since. But I mean, the pictures look nice, and the artists, you know, they seem happy. So it seems like a good place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But prior to the Phillips, I was working there. I was working with people who suffered from like mental illnesses, like cognitive illnesses and stuff like that. And I would like do artwork with them and therapeutic type of artwork. And I liked it. But for me, it was kind of a little bit, I don't want to say unfulfilling, but I just feel like I lacked something, and I noticed like I was blocked as an artist. Like I wasn't really creating for self. Like I wasn't really creating work, that like made me happy, and work that, I could feel, my time went into these people who, I was working with. I was like pretty much like working for them, like 24/7. Like even when I was at home, I was like thinking about them. How can I make like their life easier or better? So that's where I was headed. I was headed down that lane of art therapy. And something told me like, I saw like the opening at the Phillips, and something told me like, okay, Joel, like either you take a chance at being an artist and work this job that at the time I knew that working at the Phillips would inspire me. Either I do that, take this job at the Phillips, be an artist, give being an artist an actual shot, or like go down this lane of art therapy, like school and more papers, and what I'm saying, like money. I had to take all that into consideration, and it just, after like a couple weeks and months, like art therapy, it didn't really appeal to me. And I'm not trying to bash it, like shout out to like everybody who do that, who work in that field. Like I respect it, and I think that it's a really great thing. But like for me, I just couldn't do it. But I'm happy that I decided to take this route and go with the Phillips, because it just opened so many doors. Like the staff, like we got some like really talented staff members. Just like being around them every day. Like the museum assistants, that's what I was, a museum assistant. They have like some of the most talented people. I can think of so many, talented people on our staff, like that just really made me want to like really get on my stuff and like focus.
Well, are you able to paint pretty regularly now even?
Oh yeah.
Is your studio at home, or do you have to go off to a special spot to do that?
That's a good question. I got a home studio.
Okay.
So there's a room. I mean, I'm actually in it right now. If you take a look behind me. So I'm gonna do a little 360 spin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually in my home studio right now. I've never had like a dedicated studio space. So any type of work I do that you see, any type of work you see coming from me, it came from the comfort of my own home.
Right. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I like, there's something about waking up and just walking straight up to a painting. Like not having to like travel, get in the car and like travel, like take a couple steps and like throw some paint up. It's liberating.
Well, it's good. Good to keep the practice going.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Um, but I'm happy I took this this route though. You know, just like working at the Phillips, it definitely inspired me. You know, just being able to like get up and close with the paintings, you know, build like actual relationships. Like that's the way I look at it. Like, you know, if I was given like a post for that particular day, I would like, you know, look at a painting, then move to the next one, then circle back and like kind of like have conversations with the painting. Um, and you know, just kind of like come up with like my own ideas or inspiration behind it. I do want to talk about you know, kind of like a couple of experiences that I had at the Phillips though.
Okay.
So there was I mean, I know we need to talk about like the well we talked about the logo itself, and I mean we're constantly going back to it. Well, I guess maybe we should stick to it. Maybe stick to some of the paintings in the design itself. Let's just do that first, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well,
So
I didn't mention earlier, but there's a Sloan, John Sloan, clown making up, putting his makeup on.
yes.
That's next to the Whitfield Lavelle.
Right.
Then otherwise, oh, and I guess next to your painting on the right, I guess that's got to be the Carol Walker, isn't it?
That is she. That is Karen Walker. Yep.
So I guess I'm sort of and I'm not sure. Oh, the one on the far left below the two Rothkos with the Alma Thomas on top? I'm not sure what that one is.
That is Joan Mitchell.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that one. To me, that's one of my favorite. Well, of course, all of these are like equally my favorites, but well, actually, the Pierre Bernard is probably the most favorite out this whole bunch.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that Pierre Bernard. Yeah, I got a story for that one. I might not share it on Zoom with everybody, but I might. Yeah, I can talk to you about that, Bill. Maybe off screen, because that's a good one.
Good.
But the Joan Mitchell, to me, you know what she did with that canvas, it to me when I look at it, I see liberty, because you know she got like a bunch of organized strokes, or maybe not organized, but you know to me it's just like she went crazy with the brush and just you know kind of went all over the place, but in a way, to me, it's there's a pattern, and you know there's something liberating about it.
Yeah, for me too, the same thing. It's like when you look at it left to right, there's like a lateral spread in it. When you look at it, you feel some energy that's sort of moving out from the center to the left and right edge.
I see it.
She's a good, yeah, we have a lot of great paintings here.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to choose when I was just like thinking about like just what paintings you know I should like put into my logo design. Like, man, they had to be like at least 200, 200 different pieces, and I didn't want to like overcrowd the paintings because I wanted people to actually like see, and I wanted you to see too, like what I was trying to show. But there was actually a couple Joan Mitchells that I had, but yeah, that's her. You know, for me personally, as like a, you know, the type of artist that I am, you know, I'm more impression. You know, as you can see, like from like the three men, you know, in the corner by the Kerry Walker. But you know, I can get, like, it's easy to get so stuck into like making things be like exact, you know. And like when I see like work like hers, or you know, like hers, or like a Kandinsky or something, like you see that freedom, and it just like, it lets you know that, like, you know, it's okay. Like you don't gotta just like really be so exact with your brush strokes. Like you can be free and just, you know, just create, you know. And that's what I love, you know, about Joan Mitchell. That's what I take out of her work.
Yeah, well, paint is a wonderful substance. It's a wonderful thing.
What else do you see? So you
Oh,
mentioned,
well, the Alma Thomas reminds me, we're going to have a Alma Thomas show in the fall.
why, for, or is that like an exclusive Phillips type of thing, or like?
No, I can't remember who organized the show, but I think I'm not sure. I'm thinking it might be up in Maine right now, but I might be wrong on that. But we're not the only venue, or it's not something that we've organized, as far as I know. That Alma Thomas that you've got in your image here is in that show now.
Okay, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a note on that. Need to make sure I see that show. You know, I like to refer to her as Auntie Alma Thomas.
Yeah. And I guess you probably know she used to live on 15th Street Northwest.
Yep.
I think right above P Street, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that, and I know they made it like a historical landmark or something like that, a historical site. But I haven't like physically gone up there, and I need to do that.
Yeah, I think it's still a private residence, though. I don't know if you can get inside it, but anyway, yeah.
It is still a private residence, and it was actually just for sale, I think,
Oh,
for
What?
several $1 million. I try to convince some of my colleagues in education we should all buy it together and use that as like our work from home base during COVID. It was very much nixed because it's not within the budget of the education department to buy a multi-million-dollar home. Um, this has been really wonderful, you guys. We do have some questions, and I want to make sure we're able to answer them. So the first question is actually for Joel. Joel, how did your time as a museum assistant at the Phillips Collection influence your redesign for the logo?
Hmm. Thank you for that question. To me, this design, to me, it just felt really like intimate, being as though, you know, I got to like physically encounter each and every piece in the logo, like for long periods of time. You know, like working every day, like 5 days a week, pretty much, gallery to gallery to gallery. Like, you know, I got to physically like be in presence with, you know, these pieces. So, you know, from that, like ideas come up, ideas come and go, and I don't know. It just, in many ways, I would say. I guess that's like the short answer to the question. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. The next one comes from Phillips employee Catherine Rogie, and she says, "You've both spent a lot of time with the artworks in our collection as employees of the museum. What are your favorite artworks, and do you have a favorite gallery in the museum?" And this is for both of you.
Bill, you can go first.
I guess the galleries I like the most are the house, the actual domestic spaces.
Mm.
Um, the others are okay too, because even as other museums go, those rooms aren't as big as they can get at other places. But the smaller spaces, I think, are good. I think it's just a matter of that inherent in that idea is the idea that you live with the art, and that's one thing a lot of us, don't necessarily. Well, I guess we do in our homes. You've got your own stuff you like put on the walls, but I think that's the idea that sort of amplifies the experience. Um, so I guess those are the rooms I like the most. Um,
Okay. I would say for me, I would agree with you, Bill, the house. Definitely the parlors. It's something about like the originality of the museum, of the house, like the squeaks in the wall, in the floors. I mean, when you walk, you hear the squeaks. Um, I like that. But also, I had like an experience in the upper level. To you is what we refer to it as. I met David Driscoll at 2U, and I didn't even know who he was.
oh,
Yeah, so he went on a tour, him and his wife. At the time I didn't know, he was David Driscoll. And he like circled around the gallery, and I was on post just standing, and I asked him, did he need any help finding anything? And he said, I'm okay, just looking around. And he asked me how long I've been working there. And I told him about like 2 years, maybe a year. I think about a year. And he said that I'll never forget this, but he leaned over to me and said, I've been coming here since, my early 20s. And the Phillips, he said the Phillips was the only place where I could come that wasn't segregated, where I can come and like focus on the art and study. And to me, like when he said that, I'm just like whoa, like for me, I didn't really think of it. Like first off, like I didn't expect him to say that. Like who are you? Like
right.
he didn't say who he was or anything. He just hit me with that, and I'm just like, I didn't even think like in terms of segregation. Like I hear stories from my dad, and but like from like a stranger, like about like museums, like during that like era, like to hear about museums being segregated and stuff like that. I didn't really consider that. And just to know that the Phillips was like a safe haven for him, or at the time this person that I didn't know, like that was incredible to me. And um fast forward to the Phillips Gala, I saw him him and his wife pull up at the entrance, and I overhear a coworker say, Mr. and Mrs. Driscoll is here, and they checked them off the list. I'm like, that's Mr. Driscoll. Like to me, that was like the biggest flex. Like he didn't tell me who he was, but like damn. Like, and then he just popped out, he walked the red carpet and his, his bow tie, his black tux, they pull up in the Benz like that to me, that was just like really inspiring just to hear that story about like segregation. And, after that, like my respect for the Phillips, Duncan Phillips and, just the whole institution just like went up, cause like I appreciate everything that the Phillips done for me, but like to know that David Driscoll, to know what he felt for the Phillips as well, that inspired me. Um,
That's marvelous to hear.
right, right. I had to share that. Sorry, I just went on a rant. Is there any more questions?
There are, but it's like that story is so important, and I think
Yeah.
just like there's questions, and we'll get to them. Don't worry, everybody. We'll get to your question.
Okay.
But that story itself, and that uh, the fact David Driscoll being the artist that he was, and the relationship that he had with the Phillips Collection, for you to kind of get that experience of like being able to meet him and not knowing it was David Driscoll is incredible. But also him sharing that information with you, and what that must mean to you as an artist is absolutely
Right.
incredible. So yeah, we do have some other questions. This question comes from Victoria Hager, and she says, "You and Bill are such great representations of the Phillips Collection. Do you think you have the same artistic preferences? So do you guys enjoy the same artist?"
Well, for me, I'm like really traditional. Like I've studied. I was trained in like the traditional style of art. I'm thankful for that though. My school, they was really strict on that. Like, oil painting, traditional oil painting styles, underpainting, and working in layers and stuff like that. And naturally, I adopted like, or I looked up to artists like William Merritt Chase, or like the old masters, Rembrandt, of course. But when I started working at the Phillips, I started to develop more of an abstract appreciation for art as well. But I don't know, Bill. What do you think? I mean, I like a lot of different things. Like, I guess it depends on what type of mood I'm in. Um, Victoria, um, Victoria, she was an MA too at one point. What's up, Victoria? um, but yeah, Bill. What do you think, Bill?
Oh, well, I think the thing about the Phillips is the paint, the material of paint itself, and the magic you can make from it is one of the most interesting aspects of the whole thing. Um, and I guess a lot of, well, I'm sure a lot of people come from the art history background, but a lot of painters end up working at the Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
I don't paint anymore, but that's what I wanted to do when I was your age. But anyway, it's a wonderful place for paint. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I have a favorite one. They're all so interesting that
Yeah.
it's hard to. It's like asking, which child do you like the most? I guess the one that's not crying. Otherwise, we're okay.
Yeah.
uh,
Wow.
so this next question comes from an anonymous attendee, but Bill and Joel, you have both spent hundreds. Bill, you've probably spent thousands, if not a million hours in your 50 years at the Phillips Collection in the galleries, walking through our galleries, spending time with our artworks. And this attendee is wondering which artwork has changed the most for you over time.
Is this for Bill? This question is for Bill.
It's for both of you.
Oh.
I don't know which artwork has changed the most. It's funny sometimes, well, going over and over, sometimes you'll see things you never even saw, years back. And it's just funny how, I guess it's just a question of your process, your visual process, and also your attention to it. So it's always a wonderful thing, is about all I can say.
Hmm. Well, for me, I would say, well, there's a couple. Of course, the Pierre Bernard. That's one of my favorites. But at first I didn't really like it, but it kind of grew on me, and I ended up actually loving the piece. But one of the most famous pieces at the Phillips is the most famous piece is the luncheon of the voting party. And you got all these people joining together, at a table, just having lunch or whatever at Seaside. Um, for me, that was just like a great painting, right? But like, I guess like as an artist and as an employee, I kind of always wanted to like be at that table, like what would it like to like sit at the table with, all those people and like eat food and just talk about, I mean, I don't know, like fancy stuff, like whatever, they talked about back then. But like, now it makes me think about this song by Solange, Beyonce's sister, "A Seat at the Table." That's the name of her album. But I think when I see that painting now, I think about that. Like, and a friend, she told me, she mentioned something about like making your own table for people to come sit at. And like that just really made me just like think like from a whole nother perspective, like why, like join someone else's table, especially, if, it's not meant for you, or if it wasn't set for you, like make your own table and invite, who you want. So, my perception of that painting, I mean, I love the painting, I like Renoir a lot, I like his work, I study his work, but, for me, that painting definitely changed over time, and that's how I look at it, just like making my own table, or like it makes me think about like what would my own table look like.
I really like that. I'm going to be honest with you, Joel. We might steal that analogy and use it in some educational material at the Phillips Collection. I really like it.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My table would be crazy, by the way. Like, you can't imagine. Bill, you would be there. Miguel, you welcome to come.
Thanks.
But like, yeah, my table would be a sight.
It'd be a great meal.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we have two questions about the logo that you reimagined for the Phillips Collection. And the first one has to deal with the paintings that are kind of being wrapped in that white cloth in your work. And this person wants to know if you went through and recreated all of those paintings by hand digitally as you were creating it, or if those are all just pictures that you use, like pictures of the artworks.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought about recreating. Well, first off, I used Procreate. It's a digital program on the iPad that's really convenient. I've used it a few times, but man, like the things you are able to do with that program is crazy. You can change your brushes just like that, change the color, the palette. You can resize, reshape, um, and you can cut and paste. I mean, that's what I did for the design. The columns, the banner, the grass and the sky, the clouds. That's all me. Like I use, my physical hand to digi- digitally paint those. But the actual paintings, I cut and paste and pasted those into the design itself. Like I started to, like physically draw, but I'm just like, man, that's just gonna take so much time. like like work harder, work smarter, not harder. It's
Yeah.
like imprinted in my brain like right now. Cause like I've been working like crazy and it's just it's not really benefiting. I mean, it's benefiting, but just I'm trying to be a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question because I was thinking about that a lot. Like I felt like it'll be kind of like phony to like cut and paste as a technical artist. Like it'll be a little bit phony to kind of like cut and paste, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of the parts of that work that you did create, right, of that came from your hand, This person would like to know if there is a symbolism to the pillars in your piece.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I mean, just going back to like when I first started working at the Phillips, um, I was like really at it. I was at an artist block. I wasn't creating, like at all. And then like once I started like working there, I was inspired not only by the pieces on the wall, but just like uh, my coworkers, and the pieces, of course. Um, so the pillars, what they represent is exaltation. Like I wanted to exalt those paintings, um, because they mean so much, and they've done so much for me. So like I'm thinking like, how can I really show everybody like what these paintings mean to me? And like just going back to like Greek mythology and like even looking at like the monuments downtown in DC, like the Lincoln Memorial and stuff like that. Like all of these important people, like they're surrounded by columns. And to me, columns is like the epitome of greatness. And for me, I just personally have like a admiration for columns. Like right now, I got a fellow artist. Well, I'm in talks with a fellow artist of commissioning columns, to have in my home. So, yeah, columns. That's what they represent. Just greatness.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So this next one, I think it's important that I say this one is from Rel Simon, your artist brother.
Well, what's good, Rel?
Rel is
He told me.
asking, which international art museum do you dream having your art shown in, and why?
Oh my gosh, it's like a far-fetched question, Rel.
International, and we should also note that the Phillips Collection is an international museum, right? No,
Right.
no pressure to say the Phillips Collection, but no.
I mean, when I feel like that's like every artist's dream right there. Like the Phillips, like every MA, I think would love to see their work shown at the Phillips. For me, that was a dream of mine. Like even just to like, I'm thankful to even like be a digital artist in residence. Like, I mean, something that I like dreamed about. Like just working with the Phillips. Period. Like I would sit in the Rothko room and just like pray, or meditate. I know people in command center was probably looking at me like, what is Joe doing? Like we got like a room full of visitors walking through and Joe just sitting in the gallery right now with no care in the world. That was me. But I mean, of course, yeah, the Phillips, I would love to do like an intersection or something like that. I know I got a lot of work to do first though. Like I haven't really like even started like scratching, the surface of what I want to produce. But gosh, there's like a few places overseas, like in France. Yeah, I was supposed to be out in France last year, and that was my plan. Just to like scout different galleries and stuff. I had a residency at a chateau in France, but it got canceled because of COVID. But one of my goals was to like just go visit different galleries, like just to see what was up out there and just see what the art world was like.
That's
Thank,
amazing.
thank you, bro.
So those are all of the questions, but I actually have a question for Bill, and it revolves around a myth about you, Bill. And this is a story that a lot of people at the Phillips Collection, I think, tell about you, but no, like I don't actually know if it's true, but people say it's true. So a few years ago, there was a fire at the Phillips Collection, and as the story goes, after the fire was put out, the firemen were told uh, that nobody is allowed to kind of go back into the building. And the story is that you went back into the building after being told that by the firemen, and you took all these works of art off of the walls and saved them so much. Is that a true story?
Yeah, the fire, what they were doing was they were renovating the copper gutters up on the roof line of the house. And of course they were using a soldering, and of course the wood back behind where they were working, that stuff's 100 years old, so it's pretty damn dry. Anyway, it caught on fire. When that fire was there, the alarms went off and we all got out of the house. I could see what the fire was doing and it was making me nervous. And so I went to the galleries below where the roof line met and started to move art away. The other thing too is the fire department had shown up and was shooting water. And the irony about a fire is actually the damage from fire is probably horrible, but the damage from water is not easy either. So I went in there and just started moving stuff. And I probably shouldn't have done it, but I wasn't worried about myself because I knew the water was out there and the fire was about 2 floors above where the paintings were.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think I was taking a great risk.
How did you decide which artworks to move first?
Oh, I was just moving the ones that were right in line of where the water was coming and the fire was above. And then once I did that, then I went to other places. But the other thing, fortunately, with the building the way it is, you didn't have to go, like, in other words, with the bridge, you could go and just put things down and come back. It wasn't like you had to. That's one of the good things about the design of the place, which just happened by chance how it was built. But having 2 separate institutions or 2 parts like that, at least for something like that, it's a good benefit.
Did HR kind of have to sit you down the day after and reprimand you for going into a burning building?
Uh, Nobody ever told me not to, or nobody ever.
Yeah, that was my question. I was gonna ask, like, did anybody like try to stop you, or like, did you like kind of like go like this when somebody grabbed your arm, like?
Well, like I say, the fire was 2 floors above where I was, so I knew that it wasn't. And it was more like I say, once I got in there and saw it, it was the water. The water damage actually, it flowed into the main gallery, and then it eventually even went down to the dining room.
Oh
And
wow.
the ceiling got all screwed up on that.
Yeah. I think just as we were telling that
I
story,
shouldn't have done it, but anyway, it was all right.
You're a legend. That's like legendary status.
it is legendary. People repeat that story about you, Bill. Even when you're not there. I think it was one of the first things I learned about when I first started working at the Phillips Collection 2 years ago. One of the first things I learned about was how you saved artwork from a fire.
Well, thank you.
Man, I was there for 5 years and I never heard that story. Amazing.
Well, that is all the time we have for tonight. So I would like to thank both of you for being here. Joel, thank you so much for reimagining our logo for us and agreeing to go through this whole process. Bill, thank you so much for one, being here, being open to do it. I know Zoom and technology is not your favorite thing, so we appreciate you kind of being open to being here with us and being in conversation with Joel, and for being such a dedicated member of the Phillips Collection for 50 years now.
Thank you both very much.
We're obviously lucky to have you. We should also mention Joel is currently doing a residency at the Kennedy Center.
Oh, great.
Correct, right, Joel? It's
Right.
at the Kennedy Center. So you can look at his website, learn more about that from his website and his Instagram. And if you are ever at the Phillips Collection, I am sure you will see Bill walking through the galleries holding some artwork in his hands or rolling it on a cart. So please stop him and say hello and tell him he's an amazing person. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you, both of you, for being here. And we'll see you guys at the Phillips Collection soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Bill. Thanks, Miguel.
Good night,
All right,
everybody.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in.